Goku's journey isn't over because currently Dragon Ball Super is busy ruining his character, but before that, Goku's journey had ended back in 1995. Goku made a lot of progress from the first time we see him on screen to the last, not just in terms of power, but he grew as a person in a lot of ways, starting from being so naive he couldn't tell that Bulma was literally being kidnapped, to becoming a father and starting a family. Goku's morals, in the simplest way I could put it, are alien, the same way he is, but what are morals? Let's define it in the most simple way possible using the Oxford Language's definition. Morals are a person's standard of behavior or beliefs concerning what is and is not acceptable for them to do. As a kid, Goku is very much so willing to kill the people he goes up against. He's not bloodthirsty or anything, he's able to be tamed and calm, and it's not like he's going out of his way to commit more murders than necessary. During all of the Budokai, Goku doesn't try to kill his opponents, even when that opponent is the reincarnation of the Demon King Piccolo. He just wants to win and be the best martial artist. Just to quickly list all of Goku's kills as a child, he killed this talking pterodactyl, this bear man. I'm gonna guess on this number, but he probably killed at least 100 of the Red Ribbon Army soldiers. Bouillon the monster, this talking octopus, Captain Yellow. This one is anime exclusive, but he kills the ninja Murasaki. He kills Commander Black, Tambourine and Drum, and finally their father, King Piccolo. Goku also tried to kill Tao Pai Pai and was planning on doing it before attempting to carry out the action. Even when Tao is begging for his life, Goku is kind of unsure if he wants to spare him or not, and instead he asks Appa what he should do, and then obviously Tao turns on him and Goku is forced to respond. But all in all, Goku probably has over 100 kills under his belt at the end of Dragon Ball Chapter 194, which is directly before the 5-year time skip leading into Dragon Ball Z. Now, if we compare this to his body count of 2 in Z and the later parts of his life, you can clearly tell that Goku had changed as a person. This is obviously due to new life experiences. That's the reason most people change at all, experiencing new things and gaining knowledge. So let's talk about the first time Goku spared an enemy, the reincarnation of the greatest evil known to mankind, the other half of God himself, Piccolo Jr. Goku has a couple of reasons to want to kill Piccolo, but the main one is that he's a massive threat to humanity that just won't seem to stop being evil and doing evil things. Despite this, Goku is willing to spare Piccolo because he's not ready to lose his rival. He even goes as far as to give him a senzu bean to help him recover. But that's because Goku can beat him. If Piccolo trains, Goku will train, and the stronger he gets, the better fight Goku can have. And he doesn't just want to fight, he wants to win, and he plans on it. Goku won't ever let someone go just because they're a strong guy. If he can't beat you, he'll try his hardest to put you down for good, especially if you're a bad guy. Cell, Raditz, and Kid Buu are all a good example of that. So up to now, we have a pretty simple moral code for Goku. Before, he'd kill, not really when necessary, but it was never a first resort for him. But as a young adult and further, he'd try to spare most of his opponents. And of course, I'll get into the context and nuance for those different decisions and situations throughout the video. So Goku finds it acceptable to kill, wants to protect his friends, but also wants a good fight. So why is Goku less willing to kill as a young adult? Let's talk about a theory as to why Goku may have stopped taking lives, which is that it was part of his training with Kami to learn the value of life. I'll start by saying the only real implication of this is the fact that Goku starts sparing his opponents following his training with Kami, and that's really the end of it. Other than that, I don't think this theory is true, and as I go through the different villains, I'll explain why that's probably not the case. For one, Kami wanted Goku to kill Piccolo, and I think at some point in the tournament, Goku was probably fine with killing Piccolo. Goku is normally extremely proactive as a main character, but when fighting someone who is more or less equal to your level of power with a different set of skills, sometimes you get put into a defensive position, and defense is all about reaction. Goku wants to respond to Piccolo's blast with his Kamehameha wave, but he can't because it would kill Piccolo and in turn kill Kami, who is inside of Piccolo. Piccolo changes the circumstances first when he claims to be able to wipe out everyone present, and Krillin changes them even further with his theory about how they can revive Kami anyway. Goku's reaction is, well, now it's gotta be done. So with this, we establish a ranking in Goku's moral code. The want to protect his friends comes over the want for a good fight, because if not, he'd still not try to kill Piccolo so he could win the tournament. This is strange in a way because Goku is faced with a moral dilemma that most people generally would never be able to be put in. A real life example similar to this would be imagining two MMA fighters, and in the middle of the fight, one of them pulls out a firearm and says he's just going to end the life of everyone in the building. There is no bullet to bullet clash you can do with all of his bullets to deflect them and save everyone. Goku has superpowers and the people he fights has superpowers, so it's only natural that those would influence his decisions and allow for less limitations on the situations he's put in. Goku also has a genetic hunger for battle that makes applying the rules of what's moral or not a bit weird. It's sort of like calling a lion evil for killing a zebra, although it's obviously not that extreme since Goku can think like a human and Saiyans are so genetically similar to humans that they can reproduce together. Anyway, I don't want to get into a deep ethics debate, so I'm just going to move on from that. Before the fighting with Raditz begins, a very important piece of information about Goku's backstory is revealed to us, and that's that when he was a baby, he fell down a ravine and hit his head. Prior to this incident, Goku is described as having a violent disposition, but after that, he is described as being a kind-hearted boy. This is the most important thing to learn about Goku as a person because it means he's naturally going to do kinder things. Even through all the people Goku has killed, he is still able to ride the Nimbus cloud, showing he's still pure of heart, meaning that Goku was probably never killing for any selfish reasons or to quench a bloodthirst. I think a lot of what is moral to a person is going to come down to how they are naturally. Obviously your peers and other life experiences have some dictation on that as well, but that's not really the point. I'll get more into this in a bit though, it's more important in the Freeza arc than it is here. Goku is faced with a few different moral decisions in the Saiyan arc, teaming up with Piccolo, deciding to die to take down Raditz, etc, etc. We'll get into it. Goku, when Raditz shows up, is basically the most selfless person of all time. He teams up with his rival, is willing to go after Raditz without accepting his deal, and he dies in the end to make sure Raditz is done for. And I want to point this out for Goku, which is his accountability. Anytime Goku makes a mistake, he tries to make up for it almost immediately. Goku has Raditz pinned to the ground and lets him go after being outsmarted by the crafty Saiyan. Goku only survives this mess because his son Gohan came and got him out of it. So to make up for it, he sacrifices his life to make sure Raditz is dealt with. So what's the big difference between Goku here and 5 years ago at the big tournament? He's older, there's more on the line, and Raditz is a lot stronger than he is. If Goku was stronger than Raditz, I don't doubt he would have let his brother go after beating him up. I don't want to talk about this Raditz thing anymore though, so let's move on to Vegeta and Nappa. I'm sure I don't really need to point this out, but Vegeta is the opposite of Goku. Goku values his friends and journeys to the afterlife to get stronger to protect his friends, while Vegeta travels to Earth not caring about the death of his comrade Raditz in pursuit of a selfish wish. Goku spares his enemies, where Vegeta won't even spare his friends or comrades, if they are of no use to him anymore. Goku's journey and the Saiyan's journey mirror each other, where one is looking for power for the sake of power, and the other is looking for power for the sake of protecting. I know Toriyama has said that Goku isn't really a hero, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have people in his life that he cares about. You get to see this on page during his fight with Nappa. Goku lands a hit for each of his fallen comrades while bullying Nappa. It also says a lot that Goku is willing to just cripple Nappa rather than kill him, because not only was Nappa a threat, Goku was forced into the position and had to react again, similar to the situation with Piccolo I mentioned earlier. But even with this reactionary moment, unlike with Piccolo, Goku didn't go for the killing blow and instead chose to spare his opponent's life. The Goku and Vegeta fight isn't all too important to the overall topic of this video, but the end of the fight very much is, and I'm talking about Goku choosing to spare Vegeta. I mentioned in my video on if Goku was a sociopath that I thought this decision was nothing but selfish, and that's still true, but it's important to Goku's morals. Goku needs to beat Vegeta, or at least needs to surpass him. He mentions it's the first time he's really felt that way since the first time he fought Piccolo. And although Vegeta turning good is an unknown factor for Goku, it can't go unmentioned that the guy is now one of the most powerful allies of Universe 7. Goku basically admits to being selfish and says it's maybe even his genetics that's forcing him to think this way. But yeah, this is just another way of how his morality is so alien compared to that of our own. If we barely beat a space monster who wanted to blow up Earth and had him in a similar position, no one in the human race would want to see him get up again. Goku loves the idea of it, and he wants to push himself even further to overcome that wall. Actually, no, not just that, not just he wants to do it. He needs to push himself to overcome that wall because that's how Goku is. On Namek, there really isn't much change in Goku's character. He gets some new abilities, but he's still sparing people. He shows mercy to the Ginyu Force. We do see Goku take accountability and say they owe Vegeta for saving Gohan and Krillin's lives, and he does seem to still be in pursuit of his goal to beat Vegeta himself since he mentions it. Goku sparing the Ginyu Force I've gone over before, and I still think it's kinda stupid, but it's extremely consistent with his moral code. The Ginyu Force isn't a good fight for Goku. Raccoon, Jace, and Birder all get no-diffed by him, and he did beat them as much as was necessary, and since Goku doesn't have a bloodthirst, they are no threat to his friends anymore, and he is naturally kind-hearted, there is no reason for the guy to kill any of them. Captain Ginyu is the same, but it goes a little bit deeper with him since Goku mentions that especially since Captain Ginyu showed him that he believes in a fair fight, he didn't want to kill him and that fighting him would be a waste of time. So Goku believes in a fair fight, he doesn't like to bully randoms, which is basically what I take from the scene. But like I said, this is just consistent for Goku. Goku never does stuff like this anyway. See, with Frieza, it's kinda different though, and I want to be heard out on this. I also think I misunderstood this decision in my Goku is a sociopath video. I don't think Goku decided to spare Frieza at the end of the arc here, and I don't think his dialogue with Trunks is supposed to be him saying that he spared him by saying he went too soft on him. I think what Goku is saying is that he didn't put his all into blasting Frieza at the end when he should have in reality, and I think that's why Goku is so sad at the end of the arc when he has to blast Frieza away. It's not something that he genuinely wanted to do. You can even see his arm trembling when he's lowering his arm after blasting him away. He wanted Frieza to change and accept the mercy he was offering him. Goku is trying to be consistent with his morals even though being a Super Saiyan changed him as a person. Goku doesn't like fighting near innocent people. It's hard for him to go all out when doing so. You see this before his fight with Vegeta and him waiting for Gohan and the others to clear out before fighting Frieza. Goku holds back on Frieza for the majority of the fight after he turns Super Saiyan, and especially so when the Nameks are revived, just to buy time for Gohan to get off the planet at first, but then so that the entire planet could be evacuated. Goku doesn't want to go, but it's deeper than that. Goku can't go, and this is just part of his morals. Goku had to settle the score with Frieza, and that's why he's okay with leaving after he beat him. Frieza is no longer giving him a good fight, and he humiliated him badly. Bringing this back to Goku's talk with Trunks about not finishing Frieza off, Goku learns from this and he knows Frieza is unredeemable. That's why he's fine with finishing him off this second time around. He already meant to do it back on planet Namek. Maybe if he used two hands instead of one on his ki blast, he would have finished him off for good. I disagree with Goku's reasoning for not just going to beat up Dr. Gero, because it's that he hasn't done anything bad yet, but he probably has. He was the chief scientist of the Red Ribbon Army. But even so, why not try to go talk to the guy? Well, it's because Goku wants to fight someone strong. He wants another good fight, this time with these androids Trunks is mentioning. This is similar to if there was an evil world leader or serial killer. If you had a time machine, would you go back in time and unalive them as a child or baby? Because that person hasn't done anything wrong, only their future self has, but that's essentially punishing a person for actions they haven't taken yet. Well, you could also go back in time and try to lead them down a different path. This changes the outcome of the future, but it definitely requires way more work than the first option. And then lastly, you could just prepare yourself for their inevitable assault, so that it never prospers, and this last one is what Goku and the others chose. I don't think even Trunks, who had his future devastated by the androids, would want such a thing done to Dr. Gero, and I think that's why he didn't ask for it and instead gave Goku medicine and a warning so that he could help. I'd get more into Trunks' mindset, but it'd take me wildly off topic with the video. Goku's choice here is obviously influenced by his genetics and kind heart, so not killing Dr. Gero is definitely consistent with his character and morals. Genetically, there is a need for battle, and morally, he can't unalive someone who hasn't done anything bad. I mentioned earlier how Goku is very proactive as a main character, not reactive, but this sort of situation kind of forces him to be reactive again. Trunks basically tells him to sit around and wait for 3 years, and then these guys will show up on this day. Let's move on to Cell. Cell is the same as Frieza in the fact that they are both bad guys, of course, but Cell has something Frieza doesn't, and that's a Saiyan's thirst for battle and a good fight. But he's the opposite of Goku in what he will do if he doesn't get that fight, and they mirror each other a lot in this arc. When Cell is done with the fighting and his opponents are gone, he'll just blow up the planet since it's of no more use to him, or unalive his opponent. When Goku is done with the fight, he wants you to leave so that you can fight him again another day. Goku and Cell both want Gohan to go full power when he fights, but Cell wants to test his own limits to crush that power. And Goku wants Cell's limits to be surpassed and for the android to be permanently defeated. Neither Goku or Cell understand Gohan as they both fail at getting through to him, which is a mistake that both of them paid for with their lives. Goku isn't wrong for wanting Gohan, who is stronger than him, to fight Cell. He isn't wrong for wanting the next generation to take over, and he isn't wrong for wanting the fight between Gohan and Cell to be fair. He's wrong for not understanding his son and what he wants. He's wrong for only considering how he feels. He's wrong for neglecting his training over the 10 days leading up to the Cell games, and he's wrong for placing this burden on his son. This is where Goku's accountability that I talked about earlier comes into play. Everything Goku was wrong for, he understands after it's explained to him, but it's too late to correct this mistake as Cell takes the Senzu beans out of the Z Fighter's possession. Goku would only get to take accountability and attempt to correct it later by taking Cell with him and making sure the Earth isn't destroyed by his mistake again. Because had it been Goku, he would have finished Cell off. Goku already learned some people are beyond redemption from Frieza. In his journey to Namek, that's why he urges Gohan to finish Cell off when he has the chance to. It's his fault he's not the one who was in the position to finish Cell off. So it's his fault Cell is in the huge state he's in about to explode, and everyone on Earth shouldn't have to pay for his mistake. So he corrects it by averting the explosion, ending his own life. Is it not ironic that both Cell and Goku meet their end because they wanted to see Gohan's full power? I think so. Let's move on to the Buu arc though. This is the section in Dragon Ball Z where Goku gets the only 2 confirmed kills under his belt from this part of the story. I want to say Goku didn't really kill Yakan though. Hear me out. Goku powered up and he kept his power up until he went Super Saiyan 2 and Yakan ate too much energy and unalived himself. Vegeta and Babidi both take note of this. Vegeta notices and says Goku can go past the level of Super Saiyan, and Babidi says something weird happened and Yakan expanded a lot just at the last second. I say this to say Goku only has 1 kill in Dragon Ball Z, and that's on Kid Buu. But that doesn't mean it's the only thing to go over when it pertains to his morality. Goku threatens the life of Supreme Kai to fight Vegeta, but being honest, I don't know what the Supreme Kai was thinking here. They can't just ignore Vegeta. He's the next step in fighting, just like they've been fighting people before this. Vegeta is now the fighter for this floor. And on top of that, he just killed over 200 people. What is Goku gonna do? Just ignore him? And to be honest, the Supreme Kai stepped in the middle of it and said they could only fight if it was over his dead body. So this is more like Shin's fault than it is Goku's. Goku not going full power on Vegeta is weird, but it's also consistent with his morals. Vegeta is a good fight for Goku, and Goku still thinks he can be redeemed. Goku is very consistent in this way, and it's also very consistent for him to put the lives of his friends over his good fights like he did with Piccolo back in the 23rd Budokai. Here, Goku doesn't care about Buu until he shows a dramatic increase in power, so he wants to stop the fight. Let's remember that Goku can sense intent when he's paying attention, that is. So him not being convinced by Vegeta's evil man speech makes sense, as Vegeta was clearly lying. Literally 2 pages after this, he knocks Goku out to go deal with the threat that he helped give birth to, trying to take accountability the same way Goku does. One of the better signs of Goku's changing is how he manipulates an already strained relationship, that being Buu and Babidi, by pointing out to Buu that there is no real reason he should be listening to him. It'd be different if Goku planned to do this, but it's something he only learned upon meeting them face to face for the first time. He tries to resolve the situation completely without using any violence at all, and with one observation followed by a question, even though he doesn't defeat Buu, he seals Babidi's fate, which starts Buu on a path to being good. If not for this, obviously Buu never would have met Hercule and never would have became friends with him. That's all cool and great, but I didn't go over his decision to not beat Buu when he had the chance, like he admitted he could later that day. Goku instead says that he doesn't really exist here, so dealing with this problem isn't his, and it should be the kids that deal with it, since they are basically the last living people who can. This is Goku's problem. I mentioned how he wasn't wrong for a lot of things in the Cell arc. His true mishap was not understanding Gohan and burdening him. But why is that an issue? It's because Goku didn't prepare Gohan for this at all. He just threw him into the battle. Here, Goku is showing that he learned from that. He explains to Goten and Trunks exactly what they are training for and what goal they need to accomplish, and he tries his best to prepare them for that before he has to go back to the afterlife. This time he prepares the next generation to take over instead of just saying it is what it is, and it's easy to see why he'd think this way. Last time he was right. The answer was Gohan, and Gohan's defeat of Cell proved it, but the way he made an error he tries to fix this time. I don't think Goku is wrong for wanting the next generation to be prepared to take on these new threats if they ever arise. Goku is wrong for thinking it all has to be up to one person, but strength can often alienate you in this type of way, the same way money can in real life. Goku has been fighting battles alone his entire life. He never teams up with anyone. He's always saved the world alone, so it makes sense that he thinks that would be the way, and while his friends may have helped him in some way, he always gets the job done by himself. He fought in the tournaments himself, he beat the Red Ribbon Army himself, he teamed up with Piccolo for Raditz, but he had no choice at all. He had to make that split decision in that second to get his son back. He beat Nappa himself and had to get help against Vegeta, but he didn't consider that a legitimate win. He thought he was beaten. You get the point. Goku fights alone and wins alone and believes in fair fights, so he thinks that's the way. Even what he's teaching Goten and Trunks mirrors that. He wants the two of them to become one to fight Majin Buu and win. It doesn't have to be this way though. Goku has his one day back on Earth. He could just deal with the threat. That's why the Buu arc has such a great conclusion. Goku's attack uses everyone's energy, not just his own, to take out Buu. And when it's all said and done, Goku wants Buu to come back so he can have his best fight ever against the good guy. So Goku does progress, and he also stays consistent with his morals. But this is kind of where I want to end it, since I already plan on going over Dragon Ball Super Goku alone in its own video. But if you like this video, please leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel. But other than that, have a nice day.